Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And since 2020, our team that collaborates with Dove Men Plus Care has reached out to over 300,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. I am also a featured contributor on the Indie Soup Media Network, which is an independent network of content creators driven by Dr. Tachi out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it's been around for about 3 months, and they're getting close to 13,000 YouTube subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. And this is one of the shows that is featured on there. There's about four different shows that I host and produce that come on that platform, and they're all replays, edited 1 hour versions. So there we go. Ryan Knight, good morning, otherwise known as Batman.
Right, good to see you. Good to see you, Dr. Vibe. For those that don't know, my secret identity is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage the business is in, and then help them create a strategy to grow their companies by getting them access to funding and helping them with their marketing and sales. And I am an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And we are in the process of recruiting for our youth entrepreneur program. So we have about 20 that are looking to start on June the 8th. And then later in June, we're going to recruit again to start in July. Usually for high school students, they start in July. So if you know a teenager or young adult that is interested in working this summer, might have trouble finding a job last year, show them that they have the potential to start their own business this summer, and we will support them and guide them.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us. The diversity. Like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people.
Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe if you see him in the chat. And Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. New friend to everybody here except myself. I've known this young lady for a number of years, Minnie St. She's going to come on and hang out with us. And we're going to chat about a great conversation topic about pursuing financial independence while living with a disability. Good morning.
Hey,
what's going on?
Good.
You know what? I thought about this in my alleged mind during the break. How long have we known each other?
More than 10 years.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah, I roughly did the math. Yeah.
Yes, rough. I don't know how we met.
Pod camp.
Wow.
Podcamp. What is that?
So
Wow.
pod camp
Go
was
ahead.
podcasters that met and talk about podcasting and media and their shows.
Wow. Podcamp. That was at when it was at, well, back then it would have been Ryerson.
Yeah, when
is
they had
now-
a normal name.
And now it's TMU. Wow. That's cool. Wow.
My first one, not the second one. So yeah,
Wow.
it's a long time.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
And then that weird panel of people that were talking about issues of dating and relationships that turned awful because they had open bar for too long.
Oh, snap. What?
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. That
Yes.
Wow,
The university
wow.
with open bar that I guess they didn't.
It wasn't a university. Like I think they rented a space. They had box
Oh,
wine,
Gotcha.
and they let us drink too long, and then they started. It was just awful, and they brought up topics they had no business talking about because they weren't experienced in.
All right, so we're talking today about financial independence while living with a disability, and I don't get a chance to get into this conversation topic a lot, but I'm very happy that you've taken time out of your schedule to share about it because I think it's going to be very empowering. And just setting up for Friday, first Friday of June comes up this week. Wayne Harris will be on. So it's too bad Wayne isn't here because it'd be really interesting to get Wayne's perspective also. But my first conversation piece, can you share a bit about your disability and how it impacts your daily life and your ability to work?
So I'm going backwards. So it's chronic pain because I have scoliosis and multiple sclerosis, then bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's the whole 20-year timeline. That's exactly it. Because, yeah, that's part of the reason I moved out of home because my family didn't believe in mental illness or they weren't paying attention that I had one. So I left home. But they had really good insurance. So it's just weird. They work so hard for the good insurance, and
Yes.
then I'm having challenges that needed access to the insurance, like the psychotherapy, the physiotherapy, all those things I accessed when I moved out before I turned 26, where for people that are 26 and they're on their parents' insurance plan, they kick you off. The companies kick you off, but then the parents didn't buy a private plan for me because they assumed a job would take care of me with insurance, but I never kept a job long enough because I was having mental health issues.
Right.
Like
You know-
the cycle is madness because now they're like, oh, you're doing so good because I did it by myself. Like, it's just-
Right. Like in spite of your help.
You know, it's interesting, Minnie. The stuff
I mean, like
you're-
there was help. Like I'm not gonna like discredit my parents and not helping. They helped, but if like you were talking about invoices earlier, if the invoice says a certain amount of money, you can't pay a magical number in your head. You have to pay the number it says on the invoice. So they would give something, say this is for this. I'm like, okay, great, but it's missing how many hundreds of dollars that I still have to come up with or go into debt
Yes.
for. It's a weird thing of like living with it, and then it's expensive. It's not you can't live with the health challenges and not pay for it at all.
I'm just thinking, Minnie, the stuff that you're talking about, and when you had to start dealing with it was long before the mass of what we're hearing now today about mental health PTSD.
Yeah. And it's people got sick and tired. I think that's what it is. People got sick and tired. So like for me, like I left home at 19. Home wasn't an environment I was allowed to live in because child services came in. And even that, like my parents were working. So I wasn't living at home. I was living in a temporary housing situation, but eventually there's no food. So eventually I had to figure out how am I going to feed myself? And then I got into the adult entertainment industry and I chose webcam. And choosing webcam is not the easiest thing to choose in that time frame of the industry because it wasn't popular. And it was either a studio on Young Street or a random man's house. I chose a random man's house. And it lucked out for me. Luckily, he wasn't like completely psychotic. He was still crazy, but not to the point where like I'm alive. So, but he taught me everything. He taught me the business. He taught me how to wire the house with Ethernet cables. It was like and high school for me was family studies, computer classes, math that I use. So I chose high school classes that were survival for me. Like how to build a website. Okay, great. I make money online for 20 years and counting. And then cooking. Yeah, I could, if I really have the space, I can make pasta fresh with eggs and flour and I'll get it done.
And just for timelines, people might be watching this and thinking, "Oh, why didn't you just pull out your phone and record yourself at home?" So what, like what year is it?
2003,
Okay,
2003,
right.
March
So if you want
2003. I
you
was
want to set up a
18, March
webcam,
2003.
right?
Like the young people today, you have it so much easier, but you also don't know your history. I want to
Right.
slap you on the head because I'm the reason you're able to do the stuff you're doing right now.
You see that? Yes.
Yeah.
So talking about this area about employment, how challenging has employment been for you during your journey?
I've learned I have to be self-employed
Mm-hmm.
because of, so like the job I got, so like I started webcamming, then I left that house because he became super toxic and I left. Then it was social assistance. Welfare at that time was $500 a month. So that's Ontario Works. And then I got my apartment, but I got my apartment because of random people I met on the internet that helped me get an apartment. So it wasn't like, oh, I went and got an apartment. I had to like finagle the system in a way to get into the system because I didn't exist in 2003 on my credit report. And then when I did get credit, he already used my credit. He already used my name to connect the phone line. And back then I didn't realize it. Now I do. Back then I didn't know I could have moved the phone line to my new apartment without doing the deposit. But because of the chaos and the trauma and not thinking properly because of trauma, I made decisions based on trauma. And then now it's like, oh yeah, that should have been like this because I have more information and I understand the system better. Like I could have just cut off his phone line because it was in my name.
True, and
Instead of
having that access.
instead of being scared of him,
Right.
the whole thing. So and that I had to get a lawyer to send an affidavit because Bell was trying to collect on me for it. Now for victims compensation, they have a program that helps people that have their credit destroyed because they're in a domestic situation of trafficking. But that's now, again, 20 years later. Where were you when I needed it then? Like it's a lot of the stuff in the system, I had to do it by myself. And I had to find the right words to say to access things that I needed.
During this journey, who's been your ride or die? Have you had a ride or die? Has it basically been doing it, navigating it on your own?
I mean, I'm learning that I don't lean on you as much as a friend. Like for you, you're always available, but I don't always check in. So like most of the time it's just me by myself. Like it's just or like my family doctor. My family doctor, she's awesome. Like I had the appointment last week and she's like, don't worry about filing for the disability tax credit. I'm your best advocate. We'll make sure they know you're still disabled. We'll fill out the form. But people don't have doctors that do that. So like if your doctor is not telling you, we'll access everything you need to better the quality of your life, who's really in your corner? That, and even finding my doctor, that was crisis situation, bladder infection. Oh, are you taking patients as I'm humped over in pain? Getting my family doctor. Like it was, I magically operated on survival. Like it's just great and not great at the same time because now my body is rejecting itself because of multiple sclerosis.
Oh my God.
So yeah, multiple sclerosis is where your central nervous system, the myelin, the basically neurons that send the signals through your body, the coding around it is attacking itself.
Ooh.
So it creates lesions and scar tissue that will never heal. And now I'm learning that with a chiropractor, the way they did the neurological exam, that I just have to live with it.
And well, and he finally is here. Dr. Wayne Harris is in the house. Good morning, all. I'm coming a little late. Did you leverage the RDSP?
So I reapplied for the second time and got approved during the pandemic when the stock market was doing its weird thing. But I'm very happy I did because the RDSP has a government match. So this year for 2024, the government said deposit $5,000, they'll deposit 10,500, and that account is sitting at $81,000 in a period of 4
What?
years. Yeah, because
Right.
I'm not exactly doing proper financial habits. I'm taking out cash advances off my credit cards to go in that account because it's a 210% match. So Dr. Wayne could confirm the math of yes, cash advances are nuts, but the government said a 210% match. I'll take the match.
True.
And
True. Yes.
credit cards are happy with the minimum payment. Like I'm okay with that.
All right. And so Gavin
Right.
B says, good morning, Wayne. Also, and Wayne Harris says, exactly. So Wayne Harris is giving you a thumbs up. Also want to shout out Michelle Baptiste, who's watching this on the Facebook on the
And
Dr.
sorry, RDSP stands for.
Registered Disability Savings Plan, but you need to
Oh.
be approved with the disability tax credit first before
Mhm.
you can open the Registered Disability Savings Plan. And right now, the way the government budget was like, we're making the Canada Disability benefit, but to access it, you need the disability tax credit.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't have a doctor that care enough to fill out that form or keep filling out the form, because when you fill out the form, it doesn't mean you get approved right away. You may have to make an appeal. You may have to send them more documentation. Your doctors have to explain your disability with more words that are English or something. And then they'll send you a letter, you're approved. Like it's one sheet of paper, you're approved, congratulations. And then you're supposed to take that letter of confirmation and open your registered disability savings plan. Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings plan. And that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps. I don't understand how you don't do all the steps, but some of them don't do all the steps.
So a few more comments here. Michelle Baptiste goes, ask age limit. So I don't know. We probably passed.
Oh, maybe for the RDSP.
Yeah. Is there an age limit?
Yeah, there is. There is. So, okay. So the grants and bonds, I get that till I turn 49. This is why I'm taking out cash advances from the credit card to make sure I get all the money in the account as fast as possible.
Right.
Then when I turn 59 or 60, they make me take money out of that account. So I have like 20 years to maximize this account. And then the disability tax credit, I have it from 2008 to 2025, even though my disability has been there like forever. And it's not, it's permanent, prolonged, not going anywhere, no cure, episodic, chronic, like all the words that it's permanent in the dictionary.
Right. Yes.
But I have to reapply for it in 2026. And then me freaking out because my doctor, she lets me freak out, but she also tries to calm me down at the same time.
Okay.
She said, well, reapply for it. There's a timing to reapply for it because it's attached to your income taxes, because the disability tax credit lowers your income taxes like $8,000. It changes every year. Just check the website. It just, my income, my net income is typically low, where my tax pro was like, your income is too low. It's too low. It's too
Oh no, right.
because we're claiming all of my business expenses. Then we're
Yeah.
trying to add on all of the rollover carry forward from my tuition credit, or there's like I have 4 different rollovers that's supposed to carry forward and lower my income taxes, but there's no income to lower.
Right.
So
You gotta
I
boost that
literally
up.
have to make more money to access things from the federal government.
Right. Yes. Yes.
So
And I do. Oh, sorry.
go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Well, I just love how you're breaking this down for us, and it's things that people typically don't think about, and especially if you're suffering through a disability, you usually don't have time to even think about it. So is this stuff that you package and teach, or how do you kind of help get the word out?
That is what's been becoming a thing. So I slowly started coaching people on disability, but it's a
Yes.
certain person on disability. It's not everybody on disability that's going to be able
Right.
to learn the information, believe the information is true, and then implement it.
True.
Like some of them really think they can never work ever again, no matter what they do. But the government of Ontario just said you can make $1,000 net income and still remain on your benefits. So that means if you made $1,000,
Mm.
they add on $100 work-related benefit. So they give you another $100. So that's $1,100. Plus you still keep your full amount of money, which is the $1,368 for a single person, no children. Like there's a different amount in Ontario Disability Support Program for people that have children, that are couples with children, dependent children or dependent adults.
Yes,
But
yes.
I know for me being a single person, no children, that my goal is to make $1,000 net income every month. And then the $100 work-related benefit, I may or may not need it depending on what's going on in the budget every month. So I'll probably will invest it because that's a whole nother thing in the policy that it's there, but they don't tell you. And then I still get my $1,368 and they automatically pay my landlord rent and they automatically pay the electric bill rent. So I don't have to worry about being homeless. They pay for it.
Yes, yes.
And it's part me, part them. But depending on their disability, their mindset or fatalistic thinking, they don't do anything, but they're begging on Twitter, GoFundMe, PayPal me,
Right, right.
all these, and they have to claim that income to assistance. It's not like they don't like every dollar that comes into their bank account has to be reported to Ontario Disability Support Program. And as for Ontario, each province has their own program, but
Right.
they typically operate the same way and they acknowledge self-employment, running a business. They acknowledge if you're working for an employer. They try to add in extra benefits to encourage you to work. Yes, they're pretty tiny, but
Right, right.
it's still there. And then they changed it because before it was $200 net income, but that changed from any dollar you made, they would cut down their benefits by 50%.
Wait, sorry. You're only able to make $200 net income.
Before
Okay.
February 2023, the policy in Ontario Disability Support Program changed where if you made $200 net income, you'd be fine and keep your benefits when it was $1,169 and they changed it. So every time they change the budget or they want to stimulate the economy to be more productive and get jobs, the policy for disability, like minimum wage is increased, but they're doing that because they want people on assistance to work. So and then if you look at the poverty reduction budget that Doug Ford made, he wants everything but disability to be working. Like it's indirectly, directly, he's saying you can't sit around and be lazy, get up and get a job.
Okay.
Or he directly says it. Like there's clips where he directly says,
I don't doubt it.
and yes, it's very difficult. Like me going through the chiropractor every week, me going to physiotherapy every week, going to therapy every week, doing blood work every week. It's exhausting, but I'm self-employed. I control my whole schedule.
Yes, yes.
So people on disability, they actually don't understand business, but then they complain that there's not a program to teach them business, but there is. I can find 3 in Ontario.
Okay, right, right.
They're just rigid on learning something new and then trying it out. Because if it blows up in your face, you can still reapply it on Ontario Disability Program with rapid reinstatement. I mean, there's a window time frame on when they want you to reapply, but you pretty much go back into the system if you don't exceed
If it
and
doesn't
fly.
work out, right.
Like if you can't fly free, okay, fine. You can be here forever till you turn 64. And that's the other thing. They make you apply for CPP, GIS, OAS when you turn 64. And then you lose more benefits because you're a senior. This is why I had to embrace pursuing financial independence, because I'm 39. If I turn 64 and I don't do anything to increase my financial literacy, habits, net worth, or bank account, I'm still poor.
Okay.
And I don't want to be bitter and be a crazy bag lady on the street. I'm like, I'd rather be a crazy bag lady in my house. Can I
Do you coach parents of children that have disability as they're starting to age towards adulthood? I know
that
parents
was the idea. So the idea was to go back to college for business and finance, and then the easiest path I know to be licensed and qualified was to join either Primerica or World Financial Group, because they
Gotcha.
offer what I need to get people started.
Right.
So like how ODSP says you can have a life insurance product and it's exempt up to $100,000. That is where most of my accounts are: my RSP, my TFSA, the First Home Savings Account. Because when I met with my financial planner, like, this is the point of networking and meeting people and just keeping them in the back of your head all the time.
Yes, right.
So my financial planner, I've known it for 12 years. It would just kind of, I wanted to do stuff, but I couldn't actively do what I wanted because Ontario Disability Support Program had really restrictive rules. Like when the rules were $200, you make more than 200, they cut down your benefits. That scared me because I didn't know about my health benefits, if I would access more health benefits. I didn't know if I could qualify for Trillium. There were just things that you get from Ontario Disability Program, like the dental, the vision, and prescriptions. Some prescriptions, not all prescriptions, but because they pay for all my medications, I was like, who's going to pay for my medication? So I didn't actively pursue those things. And then now that I read the policy during the pandemic, because it was pure chaos during the pandemic of, like, we were forced to apply for CERB, even though we didn't know we were qualified for it, because the way our caseworkers in Ontario Disability Support Program are, they're not financial planners, they're not licensed in anything financial, but they're giving horrible financial advice. And then the system of Ontario Disability Support Program is 500,000 households. 500,000 households are being shuffled through the system of social assistance and giving horrible financial advice. And the whole program is designed by lawyers and accountants, but the caseworkers are giving bad advice.
Yes.
So now I quote back the policy to them. So like now I know I can get a life insurance product that's a segregated fund that's invested in my RSPs and TFSAs and First Home Savings Account. That's where most of my assets are. But for me to coach that to other people, I need to be licensed to do it, or I'm just referring them to people that are licensed.
Okay.
And then the other thing was, if families, they're able to run a business, they can put the business in the person on disability's name, because the policy says you can have an interest in a business. You could be a silent partner and still be on ODSP because the business is paying you a salary, which accounting class teaches you that. Like,
oh man, that is vital information.
but they don't do it. They're so scared of doing anything that they do nothing, and then they remain poor and complain the government sabotage them, when no, you sabotage yourself by not reading the information.
Wow, good stuff.
Amazing.
Question. I know you've probably talked about it, but I just wanted to make sure we get it all out of you. What challenge have you faced pursuing financial independence due to your disability?
The false belief system, like applying for ODSP, I was already psychotic. Then CAMH psych ward was like, you should apply for social assistance. I thought I could just get better, get back to work. So that's the whole point of having the mental illness. Reality doesn't kick in right away until everything falls apart. Because I was facing eviction from my apartment. I had to wait for disability to say yes. Then I'm looking for other apartments in a neighborhood I didn't want to live in that was trying to squeeze me into the studio apartment, one room, and walk up buildings. And I'm like, I'm not walking upstairs. And this is a weird thing. I actually cannot walk upstairs now because of multiple sclerosis. I have balance issues. I'm in chronic pain all the time. So it's a good thing I didn't lose my current apartment that had a working elevator some of the time to a walk-up building that wanted me to live in the bachelor apartment. For it was just the timing. It's, even if you don't think you need something, you kind of have to apply for it, because the way that the disability tax credit works and ODSP works and other provinces program work, it takes time for them to review your file, approve you, and then you're sucked into their system and you're bad advice from people that are managing your file. So the challenges was bad advice from legal aid, because at the time they're like, oh, don't make too much money. And I'm like, but how am I supposed to feed myself? Then they're like, go to a food bank, but food banks don't actually give you proper food. Because then when my doctor runs the blood work and says hemoglobin is low, or my iron is low, or my vitamin D is low, I need more supplements or better diet to change those things that I've been learning for the whole year. Like, I've been doing B12 shots every month from August until now. And now we're doing B12 shots every other month. then the vitamin D that's not covered under OHIP or ODSP's health benefit, I have to pay for that. Or I go on Seniors Day at Shoppers Drug Mart or Rexall to get buy one, get one half off. Or I use my Optimum points. Like, it's the level of prescriptions that you would get that you would think would be covered, and then you don't find out it's not covered until after the pharmacist runs the prescription.
Right. Like at the counter.
Yes,
Like,
they literally
how
call it,
they owe you.
this is here's your invoice. Like,
Yes.
Wayne Harris has a question. Did you look at getting individual benefits that cover your prescriptions, massage, chiropractic, etc.?
I did, and now with the Canada Dental Plan, I probably can't apply for it right now. I could, but the thing is, the dentist said all their patients who are on OW, ODSP, or Smiles program has to apply for the Canada Dental Plan that just came out. Then the Canada Dental Plan is, you don't qualify for the Canada Dental Plan if you can afford your own insurance. It's a toss-up, because if I have to enroll in the dental plan now before I go see my dentist in August. So I have to do that now. But if any time frame that I get my own plan, I'm committed to keeping that plan, because whenever the dentist runs something that ODSP rejects, they need a way to be paid. It needs to be paid for somehow. So like if they, like I have a permanent retainer in my mouth, and if they have to cement it down and it's not covered under ODSP, I have to pay for it out of pocket, or it's from the insurance plan. We'll find a way to bill it and then they'll pay for it. So it's a weird thing coming in, because if you're continuously poor, okay, the Canada Dental Plan works for you and then you're on government programs. But if you're gradually coming out of the system and gradually being working poor and then not working poor to working class or whatever that looks like, and then higher up, you push yourself out of every program available.
And it's
that's
wild.
the scary part. I think that's the part that people on assistance don't want to face. Like, they don't want to like gradually come off the system and access things on their own.
And that it's almost like a tipping point where it's worth.
It's training wheels. So like assistance is training wheels.
Yeah.
And you want to push the kid down the hill so they can pedal on their own, like my mom did. And they don't want to pedal by themselves. They don't want to ride the bike by themselves. They want training wheels.
Oh man, and it's tricky, because as you said, the Ontario government is talking about, okay, how do we get people off relying on the system and wean them off? But then it looks like the federal government is like, well, if you start doing better, we're just gonna cut. So
all the systems are like that. Even long-term disability is like that. So long-term disability, I'm learning from a couple of coaching clients I had, where if they show that they can work a little bit, long-term disability stops paying them their payout that they were paying into from their employer. So like if they were getting like $3,000 a month from long-term disability that covered some of their living expenses, I don't know if it increases with inflation. It's a weird thing, because some of these programs increase with inflation and some of them don't increase with inflation. And then you're left begging people online or at the corner grocery store for change, because it's a sacrifice you trade. You trade their payout, their insurance payout or social assistance for your ability to earn your own income. So like the way that they're like, oh, you can't really be wealthy. You can, just you have to build it. Like, it's not like me having $80,000 in my registered disability savings plan. It was zero in 2019. It's 81 because money went in. Anytime mom and dad, grandma gave me money, half of that went in there. Like the Trillium credit, the carbon tax credit, I already planned half of that money goes into the registered disability savings plan.
Yeah.
But like it's because I can still work. I have my self-employment. And then with the self-employment, the ODSP office could be like, oh, you're not making minimum wage. You should be making minimum wage. And then try to force me to go into a job. So like my business has to make more money so that I don't have a caseworker pressuring me to go get a job that I don't want. Because going through a job interview and then, oh, I'm online on the internet because I work in adult entertainment. They don't like that. Then I have a disability that they have to accommodate. They don't want to do that. Then I'm pretty damn stubborn. They don't want that either.
Yes.
So
3 strikes, you're out.
Pretty much. And
It's
I'm
like-
older. I'm not 20. Like when I was 19, I was on social
Yeah.
assistance, trying to escape that toxic environment, working a job, working from home until I burned down and became psychotic. I really not interested in pushing myself to do that again.
True.
Wayne says LTD is only to age 65 in most cases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I know. But they still make you choose, make your own money, or they give you what they give you, and good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Minnie, do you see yourself as an advocate?
Yes, but it wasn't the title I gave myself.
Right. Yes.
Like it was like it just I just got tired of like being told I cannot have when my family who came from Jamaica to here tell me I could have everything. So one of them had to be right.
Mm.
Either I'm not having anything and I suffer, and then
Mhm.
my parents who came here so I didn't suffer. Like they came here and had me and they expect me to access everything Canada has to offer.
Right.
And if I don't do that and I show up Christmas or some family barbecue and they're like, how come you're not doing those things we told you to do? Like, that's literally what they tell me. Like, while we're drinking alcohol, it's, oh, but we didn't teach you that. Like, Caribbean families have those people that tell them, oh, we didn't raise you that way. So they raise you to be smart. They raise you to, like, to fight back. Like, I'm ingrained to do this whether I want to or not. Like even now on social media, when people are posting on ODSP, they have $5 in their bank account. Can you give me money until next week? I'm like, look, the disability says you can make $1,000 net income. Figure out how to make $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
The level of things we have now that can help you make $1,000. I don't know why they're not doing them. Like there's either online, some app, like the amount of people in my building that are doing Uber of some kind
Yes.
or some app of some kind. Yes, it's ridiculous. They're out there with the big, huge gloves and the bikes with the huge wheels in the winter, but they're trying to do something.
Yes.
Like I'm pretty sure they're not coming home until they make a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like even my YouTube channel, it paid me $100 last month. I need to make more content on there that's searchable and almost clickbaity to get more views. But YouTube's
Right.
going to pay me. It says Google MLSP in my bank account. That's it. And then I tell the caseworker, Google paid me $100. We're going to say, no, it said the bank account said so and the invoice said so. That's the other thing about having invoices. You need to send them to the caseworker when they ask and you get audited.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good idea to have your invoices in your own accounting software than versus printing off a certain website that has your documentation because you're giving them too much of your business that they actually don't need and didn't ask for.
Right.
And then it gives them an opening to be more judgmental and criticize what you're doing when there are people in office that has basic college, high school experience to push paper and press save.
Yes.
That's like I don't give my caseworker more power than they need. Like I just don't. Like I know this is a policy. You should have skimmed it through in training. You didn't. I read it every day because I'm home. What else am I supposed to do? Like if you're on disability and you don't read the policy of disability, yes, it's complicated language. Yes, it's stressful to read it through. But if you read it through 600 times a day and then ask Google, what does this mean?
Mm-hmm.
You understand it.
Right.
Like that I didn't like they want internet access, but they're not using the internet to make money. And that's literally what I've been doing since 2003 is using the internet to make money.
I love that. And that should be a North Star for people that are struggling. Like if you're struggling, look for alternatives that can help you struggle less. And you're like a prime example of that kind of North Star. So I'm hoping we can get this kind of message to a lot more people that could use it because it's inspiring what you're doing. And I remember getting or feeling the frustration of people that I would work with that are on ODSB and I'm trying to coach them to start a business, but they're just giving all the excuses of why.
Because they didn't read section 5.4 self-employment.
You see, and these stuff, I didn't read it either. It's like maybe I need to go read it so that when a person brings up that.
Yes, that was the thing. So I went through employment supports. They have one program for self-employment, which is Toronto Business Development Center. And then for 2 years straight, every time I talked to a caseworker, they would send me section 5.4. That's why I ended up reading the policy. They kept sending me section 5.4 self-employment. Then I memorized the thing. Then I was like, okay, let's read the other sections of the policy. And that's why I learned about life insurance products and segregated funds, that they're exempt up to $100,000. And then they changed the policy too without warning. So there's times you go to the website for the policy directive of Ontario Disabilities Program or Ontario Works. Is this last published and then last updated? And the dates keep changing. If you look through it through the whole year or over like 3 or 4 years, you see the policy keep changing over and over again. And your caseworker didn't tell you, because the caseworker is not going to tell you. Like, they literally think that you're too dumb to understand their information of a policy that you went through to apply for. And you sign all the documents saying, I agree. Every time you're making your application to Ontario Works or ODSP, you're signing your name. You're signing your name, you agree. Like, just because they give you that small little package of orientation and your rights and responsibilities, your rights and responsibilities is to read the policy yourself. Like, it, like, and it's not, and they're making that program more online. Like, they want to digitize everything and they're making it online. Everything is there online, where faceless YouTube channels with robots, AI, are reading the policy on YouTube. There's 3 YouTube channels that read the ODSP policy, and they're robots reading the policy.
Look at that.
All right. Wayne Harris says, this sounds like passive people lose and people who actively take control of their lives wins. No difference with people who are disabled or not. If you snooze, you lose.
Yes.
Agreed. Yes.
Yes. There's the book I'm reading, Millionaire Mission by Brian Preston, the Money Guy show. He said that there's villains and victims. They both don't win, but victims can become heroes because they change the narrative. They change the narrative. And every superhero story that we know of someone that struggled and then they're the superhero, you had to change the narrative. Like, you had to embrace your power because it's in you all along, and then go be a superhero.
But they also had to find their guide and their guru. And so, Minnie, I feel like you can play that Yoda to a lot of our would-be heroes.
People. There's just some people. Like, I fully understand that there's some people that'll never accelerate their life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's valid.
That's fact.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Because I'm not gonna hold I'm not gonna hold their hand. I'm not gonna, like, I'm making it as technical as possible because it's written that way.
Right.
Like, even with accessing ODSP has a thing called $500 for employment startup benefit. I literally plan out the letter I'm writing to access that every 12 months, because they said I can have it every 12 months. They say I can have it to begin, maintain, or change employment or self-employment. Then I literally search through the whole city of employment programs, self-employment programs, coaching, private coaching, and I tell the caseworker, I need this program so I can maintain being self-employed. Yes, like, I use back their words against them to access my $500 every 12 months.
There you go. All right. This is going very well today. Let me ask. So what resources you've shared from your own lens, but what resources would you suggest out there, or support systems would be helpful for those who are in the same circumstances you are in?
I mean, I listed most of them, like the Toronto Business Development Center. That's where, like, they help people that are entrepreneurs on ODSP and Ontario Works, but their program outline is just to teach you how to build a business plan. If you already have a business, then you're operating your business like a normal entrepreneur. Like, it's who just happens to have a disability. So, like, either it's disability first or entrepreneurship first, or career professional first who lives with a disability. Like, it's not always I have a disability. Like, I have to go into spaces and just present my idea and had people, like when I got the coaching client, I got the coaching client from networking at the Women Chamber of Commerce. And then with the Women Chamber of Commerce, their issues that they're fighting don't even include people with a disability.
That's right.
So like, how are you saying that we're marginalized, but you don't even have stats of people with a disability? And then even on the Government of Canada websites, they have these different business guides for like LGBTQ and women. I emailed them. I said, do you have anything for people with a disability? They said no. Like, how are you supposed to give us business guides and you don't include people with a disability? So like, there's a lot of environments that don't even have disability in the conversation.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just want to ask, are there any advocacy groups, online communities, or mentors that have provided you guidance, or you would suggest providing people in your situation who have the situation that you're going through any guidance?
Yeah, there's just some disability organizations that I cannot be around at all. They teach poor, they teach poverty, they teach do the bare minimum. And I'm as vocal as I am right now, and I'm now yelling at these people.
Good.
Yes, right.
I fully believe that it's an opportunity for you to be the solution to many people's problems.
Because like they would say like, I'm gonna call him out. It's fine. John Stapleton has this thing of how to access social assistance when you become a senior. And I'm like, I don't want to stay poor as a senior. Why? Why? Like, I don't want to eat canned food. I don't want to go to food bank. I want to have a good amount of money when I'm a senior that takes care of everything I need. If I need to hire a PSW or a private nurse, I want to be able to do that. And I can't do that if I'm on GIS, OAS. I looked, it's $30 a month. It's because it's because when I had employment, I wasn't there long enough that CPP was contributing to it big enough. And then I was self-employed, and the beginning of ODSP telling me don't make too much money because they'll cut you off. My business wasn't making enough money to contribute to CPP. Like, remember I said earlier, I have to make more money to access federal programs.
Yes.
That's one of them. If I don't make more net income from my business, I don't contribute to CPP. That means when I turn 64, 65, I'm getting $60, $70 in GIS, which is less than what I get right now from ODSP. It's actually 1/3 of what I'm getting right now. If I add it all up, if I don't do anything, and if I don't stick to this plan, if I don't try, like, okay, if I put $10,000 in investments and it sits there and I don't touch it and it grows till I turn 65, that's still better than doing nothing.
100%.
And I don't understand investments yet. I'm not trained yet. Maybe Wayne is. I'm not trained for those things. But I know at least that.
Yes, exactly. We see that on the horizon, 100%.
Any other messages you'd like to share with the Morning Vibe family today?
So, like, with disability, it can happen to anybody. Like, I was told I'm young, go live my life. No, I got diagnosed with mental illness and a chronic illness that affects my spine and my brain. Like, I literally have to do an MRI every year to watch multiple sclerosis. I don't like doing it. I hate doing it. And my doctor books my appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning for my exams.
Yes.
And then there's people in your life that have a disability, but they're not talking about. Like, I'm learning with Organization Disability and Race. They're trying to access supports for people of color with a disability. A lot of them don't even identify with their disability because the Black community seems to think, oh, it's part of the devil, or it's a made up thing. Right. No, it's not. We've been through so much crap in history that people's brains are broken, whether it's PTSD or childhood trauma or being bullied as an adult or abusive relationships, whatever it is, like that is the mental side of disability. Then there's physical disabilities. Then there's intellectual disabilities. Not everything is in a wheelchair. Like that, because when I emailed you about changing the thumbnail, that was because it needs to be inclusive of all of them, because every one of them is having it. Like, if you were, like, my dad went and did something on the roof and fell off the roof and broke his foot. That's a temporary disability. He still went back to work. My grandmother got her hip replacement. That's a temporary disability. She still went back to work. So either we're patching ourselves up to go back to work, and the job itself is probably the reason why you have the disability. And then to access all your disability benefits and going through a lawyer or going through legal aid.
That was unbeatable right there. That was
causes more stress on the body. We're like, stop acting like nobody has a disability. We all have one. It's just a matter of how bad is it, and does
The
it just
degree.
destroy your life or not?
Right.
Okay, how can people get in touch with you? I forgot to ask that, but you're going to invest so much fire. How can people get in touch with you?
So there's my YouTube channel, Minnie on Cam,
What
and
about
then
email? Is email
minnieoncam@gmail.com.
okay? Minnie on cam at gmail. Okay,
I'm learning that some accessibilities, they're not going to give it to you. They're just
right. So
even though
I
legally they're supposed to. The ADOA, I forgot what it's called, the actual longer name for it. Like they're supposed to, and the Human Rights Commission thing, they're supposed to give it to you, and they're supposed to do it in a way that doesn't cause you or the company more harm. And sometimes, if you're causing the company more harm, they let you go. And they find creative. This is why legal aid isn't always the best resource. You actually have to hire a private lawyer. This is also why I really like Legal Shield, because you can get a membership for access to legal people. And every problem you have, whether 2 o'clock in the morning you're a panic like I do, you can message them and they'll break down the legal terminology, what to access. Because a lot of it's you have to be your own lawyer, be your own financial planner enough that you know how to ask more questions.
Okay. Latanya says Minnie is dropping truth bombs, and I applauded your methodological and in-depth understanding of the economic system, systems surrounding disabilities. Cassandra says, "LOL, check your email. We have spoken before." And she said, I literally just taught a webinar at a health center about disability justice. I like that terminology, disability justice.
Gotcha.
I like that. I like that. And for those on most platforms, I have shared Minnie's email address, but it's on the screen proper right now if you want to get in touch with her on the Gmail. That is phenomenal. On top of everything you shared today, are there any strategies or advice you give others with disabilities striving for financial independence?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. And even if there's pockets where I have quick money come in, don't get too excited. Just plan your budget. Make sure every dollar in your budget has a job, including savings and investing and your basic needs. Because if you ignore actually putting money in savings and investing, you'll wake up one day and not have it. It's like cake in the fridge. If you ate all the cake, there's no cake. So you have to put away. You have to put it away. Regardless of being on ODSP or not, because they let you right now make $1,000 net income. It's a matter of figuring out how do I save something out of that, whether what disability gives you or the money you make on your own or money given to you by other people. Some of it has to be invested long term and some of it has to be saved.
And I love the way throughout the conversation you've broken down budget and you have a great understanding of the money that comes into your life and how you use it. Is there anything specific that you like? Do you just use an Excel spreadsheet? Is there a platform you kind of put numbers into?
There's my spreadsheet that you'll see on my YouTube channel. I have to make a video for June budget, but then I also use the app Every Dollar. So Every Dollar is through Dave Ramsey and the Baby Steps. And that's pretty much it. It's been that way since 2018 I found Dave Ramsey and his Baby Steps. Then and they're step by step. Like it says, save $1,000 first, then pay off all your consumer debt, then build your emergency fund, then build your investments. That process, if you don't want to rush and come off ODSP or any other social assistance program, that process knows you're making progress. Even though, yes, the government is difficult, they made policy annoying, legal aid gives bad advice. If you stick with the baby steps, when a caseworker gives you annoying, horrible advice, just tell them, no, I have a plan I'm following and this is working for me. Because even now, sometimes I tell my caseworker, I'll let you know when I have too much money in my bank account. And he laughs. I'm like, no, I'll let you know when I have too much money in my bank account. Because there's going to be a time, and you knowing when your assets are over their limits is better than them knowing your assets are over their limits. You should know how much money you have before you report it to disability offices.
All right. That was a good conversation. And Ryan, usually you're gone by this time.
Well, I didn't even see what time it is, but we'll finish up. But again, the conversation was really and needed. You know, it had a specific lens, yes, disability, but everybody listening has to understand how to manage your budget. The financial literacy is so important, and the way Minnie breaks it down, I love it. So yeah, anything we can do to support and amplify that message is great.
She could create her own industry on this side of the border, especially when it comes to melanated individuals, big time.
And if she finds a way to break through those that have almost given up,
yes,
and can get them to just try it, yeah, it'll explode for her. Because
make a U-turn.
That, yeah.
Absolutely. But look, thanks for everyone hanging out today, and as always, a great conversation topics as always. I made this request on Saturday on Prime Time, Saturday with Ish and Lala, but I also I'm asking a favor for the regular family of the Morning Vibe. If you could potentially or possibly email me, I have a little favor to ask. It would only take a minute of your time. So I'm looking to see if you will do that. As always, you can watch replays of this on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook, ACBN, Facebook and YouTube, Ryan O'Neill Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. And let's do the roll call. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Advertise your business, product, or service. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. That's where I also want you to email me. I have a favor to ask. Join the Discord group. Same thing, email address. And that's it. So we are done till Friday. And speaking of Wayne Harris will be up on Friday.
Nice.
So I'm going to touch. Well, actually, I have a meeting with Wayne Harris today, but also I'm going to send a message to find out what he wants to talk about on Friday. And then a week from today, we have Carolyn Nicole back to do part 2 of her last epic conversation.
Right, yes.
So things are rolling. And if you have any guest suggestions, even yourself, contact me. We'd love to have you on. So as always, live your life.
Just before you wrap up,
yeah,
this Friday is the 30th anniversary of First Fridays. So with Warren Salmon, they're doing it downtown at the Globe and Mail Conference Center. So if anyone's available in the evening this Friday, June the 7th, definitely check that out to celebrate 30 years of First Friday's networking event happening.
Congratulations, Warren Salmon. Yes, Brenda Elizabeth Williams. Enjoy your day, guys. Thank you. Well, you're making us enjoy the day. Thank you so much. So as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and let's help Minnie and her cause rise.
Yes.
See ya.